And so it is official. Cristiano Ronaldo has officially become the first ever active footballer to hit the billionaire status. Now it is very necessary for us to do this, right? Because in the world of football, I think so many footballers, they really do not understand how to mix their passion of playing football with their financial life, right? So many footballers actually immediately after leaving football, maybe give them like 5 or 10 years, they are back to square one. We've heard stories of a lot of them, which I'm not going to mention their name. It is out there in the media, out there. You can just do your basic research, and you will discover that what I'm telling you now is the reality. Now, the truth is that a lot of footballers actually make the mistake of just, focusing on the passion aspect of football without looking at the business aspect of football. You get Cristiano Ronaldo is one person that you can literally look back into his career and you would ask yourself, who is advising this guy? You see Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. These guys are massive when it has to do with blending football with business and also looking for a way to make a life out of it. People are just focusing more on the football aspect. Why Ronaldo took his time to, as he's also pursuing his career, he's also focusing more on the business aspect of it, right? So that's why it looks as if he's succeeding in virtually everything. Banter aside, we can banter the fact that he has not won the World Cup. We can banter the fact he doesn't have 8 Ballon d'Ors, right? He only had 5. But you cannot take away the fact that Ronaldo is a business genius. Right, when we talk about where this wealth is coming from, some people would wonder, after all, is it not just Ronaldo that is just, he's having he's been receiving salaries and, his salaries are too big, way this, way that. Aside that, there are a lot of things this guy is doing on closed doors that every footballer should need to emulate, right? He's one person that you could look back and you ask yourself, how is he doing these things? Right, when it has to do with his salary, right, you look at what he has actually the fortunes he has actually made over the years. You could look at the salary bonuses he has gotten from Real Madrid, from Juventus, from Manchester United, and currently at Al Nassr, where he's receiving a way higher wages than what he has gotten in Madrid, Man U, and Juventus. You look at the endorsement he has. You could think of Nike endorsement. You could think of Claire. You could think of the CR7 brand, right? In fact, that's one of the best brand I've ever seen so far, right? And then the business aspect of his own career. You talk about the CR7 hotels everywhere in Portugal and even in Manchester, right? Coupled with Real Madrid. I think this is what he has been doing so far. If he gets to any environment, right, he just finds a way to plant a business. See, this thing is beyond school. You don't need to be you don't need to go to higher institution to be able to have this kind of sense. If Ronaldo gets to any environment, the first thing he does, right, immediately he starts playing in that particular league, is to find a way to plant a business, and it's a very good one. Is a very good one. You barely find footballers that are actually thinking towards that direction, right? And that's why he's succeeding. When you look at the fact that he has his CR7 hotels, right? You could think about the clothing lines he has, and then you could think about his fragrance. I could remember when he did an advert of that fragrance way back, I think 2-3 years ago, right? He did an advert of that particular fragrance. It's crazy how he has been able to come up with things like this. Personally, I feel he has a very good advisors. He has people who are advising him on how to spend his money, and that's why hitting the status of a billionaire, even as an active football player, is a feat that you cannot really take away from. It's something that needs to be recommended for virtually all footballers. And this is one thing I've always looked at. I've always believed, right? If you see someone doing well in a field you are, right, and you think maybe this person is doing something a little bit different from what I'm doing, it is important you go back and ask. Ask questions, because if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. If people who are close to Cristiano Ronaldo, right, you have access to him, instead of asking for how did you manage to move from Madrid to this, how have you been able to be scoring, what's your goal, just ask him simple basic questions on how he's able to make this world, bro, right? If you're privileged to sit with Warren Buffett, privileged to sit with Elon Musk, You don't go there to start asking them for money, right? You don't go there to start asking them, can you give me money to put in my business? Ask them very basic questions. How are you able to do it in a harsh economy, in an economy that is filled with insection, right? How are you able to amount such amount of wealth? You get in their response, right? The ones that are willing to tell you the truth, lies basic secrets to their success. So I congratulate Ronaldo. This feat, you barely find players that achieve this kind of feat. He's the third athlete to have done this, right? Tiger Woods has done it as an active player. As an active player, of course, he's an athlete. And then followed by Floyd Mayweather. He has also done it as an active player as well, as an active sportsman as well. So right now, Ronaldo has actually made it in the world of football, right? So it is crazy, and I congratulate him. I wish him the very best, and we are looking forward to the World Cup. That's where everybody eyes is right now, right? Messi has done his own part. It is left for Ronaldo to complete his own comeback, and at least we have a little bit of a fair ground to play on, right? So banter aside, just congratulate the young man. He has done a marvelous work. So thank you, and remain blessed.